Okay. So Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So inshallah, in this lesson we are going to do shartiya sentences, which are in, man and ma, and for 3-letter words, sound and weak both. Inshallah, we will see how conditional sentences affect the sentences. So we already learned before that lam plus mudare for the 3-letter words, and these are the weak words: wahaba, wa'ada, qala, zada, da'ahada, dhanna, and walla. And the sound words are fataha, nasara, daraba, sami'a. We had also covered karuma, which is not there in this list, but karuma is what basura is in that pattern, right? So, and hamzated ones are amara, sa'ala, and qara'a. So with the chopping, yaf'alu had become yaf'al, it is getting a sukun, and yaf'aluna becomes yaf'alu. Taf'alu becomes taf'al, lam taf'al, af'alu, lam af'al, taf'aluna, lam taf'alu, naf'alu becomes lam naf'al, taf'alu becomes lam taf'al. And with the weak words, qala yaqulu, the vaw gets dropped after the lam is added. So yaqulu becomes lam yaqul. The vaw is also dropped and the dhamma becomes a sukun. So yaqulu, lam yaqul, yaquluna, lam yaqulu, that will remain same. Taqulu, lam taqul, aqulu, lam aqul, taquluna, lam taqulu, naqulu, lam naqul, and taqulu becomes lam taqul. Right? So that was what we had done in the class almost, I think, a month back now. That's why it's good to revise. But this is a different concept that we are going to do today. So the conditional sentences are sentences where there is a condition. So if you do this, I will do that, something of that type. And other thing is conditional sentences, whoever does it succeeds, something like that. And whatever you do, I will do. So these 3 are conditional sentences which give a condition that if you do something, then I will do something, or if you do this, you will be benefited by so and so things, and whatever you do, I will do. So if you are doing something, I will do something else. So this is a conditional sentence, and we'll see how these conditional sentences are formed in Arabic. So we have the choppers working. Now, if you see, there are 2 choppers that you are seeing. Now, these 2 choppers are for the conditional sentences because 2 words will get affected with it, right? So if we have in, then with a conditional sentence in, if, followed by a verb in the present tense, it will get a sukun, right? So that is also important. Not any word will change, the present tense will change. So in taf'al, if you do, in taf'al, af'al, I will do. So now this af'al is not followed by a repeat in taf'alu, in af'al, no. But the effect of this in is there on I will do also. So this is how a conditional sentence will work. So the effect of in will be on the second part of the verb also. This is how a conditional sentence is. This is the first type of conditional sentence. In taf'al, if you do, I will do, and we'll take some examples in the Quran for this to understand. The second is may yaf'al, which means whoever does this, may yaf'al, yanjah. Najaha is to succeed, yanjah, he succeeds. So if you see here also, the 2 choppers have worked, and that's why there is a 2 choppers shown here. You've seen that how the choppers chop the dhamma and makes it a sukun. May yaf'al, yanjah. Both have got a sukun in the end. I will just highlight that. So here the in is not repeated, but you still have a sukun in the end. Same way, may yaf'al is also doing the same thing of giving a sukun to the present tense verb, and the effect of that present tense verb also will have a sukun. So may yaf'al, yanjah has a sukun, and you have whatever also. So whatever is ma taf'al, whatever you do. So this ma has given the sukun. So when this ma is followed by present tense verb with a sukun, it is a conditional word now. And because of this condition, there is a sukun here. So ma taf'al, af'al. So if whatever you do, af'al, I will do the same. So these are the three types of conditional sentences in which in, man and ma is used. So in is if, and it is followed by two verbs. If you do, I will do. If you are working, then you will succeed. And whatever you do, I will do. So if you are doing something, then I will do it. Otherwise, I will not do it. So there is a condition. So all these three words indicate a condition: in, man, and ma. And what they will do is they will do double chopping on the two verbs. That's why there are two choppers here. Then what it will do? The dhamma of the last alphabet becomes a sukoon. Okay. So that is how the Arab change, and they give meanings and different types of meanings. And that is why we have to know them. So words such as in work as double choppers on fi'l mudari in a conditional sentence, which means double choppers means they are going to affect two verbs. The answer to the condition will also be affected the same way. So if you do, I do. Whatever you do, I will do. And whoever does this will get that. Something like that. So both the verbs will have the effect. So for example, yaf'al, yaf'alu becomes yaf'al, yaf'aluna becomes yaf'alu, taf'alu becomes taf'al, af'alu becomes af'al, taf'aluna becomes taf'alu, naf'alu becomes naf'al, and taf'alu becomes taf'al. In taf'al, af'al. If you do, I will do. Just practice this so that you get used to this concept of the choppers and used to the concept of the sukoon in a conditional sentence. In taf'al, af'al. If you do, I will do. And the second is, if you all do, we will all do. So the second is plural. In taf'alu, naf'al. In taf'alu, naf'al. Right? So I think we'll just, all of you all unmute your mics and we'll just practice this little bit so that you get a little clear with this concept. So you can, what I'll do is I'll say in the English, and then you keep that meaning in the mind, and then you just repeat that in Arabic, right? So I'll say, if you do, I will do, and then you say this Arabic thing in taf'al, af'al, and then I'll repeat the meaning in English once. Okay. So if you do, I will do.
In taf'al,
af'al.
Okay. So now we are all plurals. So what we'll do is I'll say the English, and then you all say it in Arabic, and then I'll repeat it in English for the plural, right? If you all do, we all will do.
in taf'al,
naf'al.
Right? So if you all do, we will do. So what happens is we are already practiced to saying taf'aluna and af'alu and naf'alu. We have to condition. It is followed by in, then it will be with the sukoon, right? So in taf'al, af'al. If you do, I will do. In taf'alu, naf'al. Right? So here the taf'aluna has become taf'alu, and naf'alu has become naf'al. Okay. So I'll just say the English, and then now you all repeat the singular one. If you do, I will do.
In taf'al, af'al.
If you all do, we all will do.
in
In
taf'al,
taf'alu, naf'al.
Right. So with that, inshallah, if you write it a couple of times, it will become, inshallah, easy for you. So we'll take some other verbs. Yaftahu means to open, will become yaftah. Yaftahuna will become yaftahu. Taftahu will become taftah, and aftahu will become aftah. Taftahuna will become taftahu, and naftahu will become naftah, and taftahu will become taftah. So it's simple, just that sukoon in the end, and when there is waw noon, that noon is dropped. That is the chopper. So now we will do it for opening. If you open, I will open. Repeat in Arabic.
in taftah, aftah.
Very good. Okay. So the ha, when it is followed by sukoon, the ha is coming from the throat. So it should sound like that. So it will be in taftah, aftah.
In taftah, aftah.
In taf'al,
Correct. Very good.
aftah.
If you all open, we will open.
In
In
taftahu,
taftah,
aftah.
Okay. So this we have seen also in the azan that we had learned. So when we are stopping, the ha will get a sukoon. So hayya alal fala. Normally, when we are giving the azan, the lam is prolonged, but some people just leave the ha. So that ha has to be pronounced properly. So hayya alal falah. That ha has to come in the end. A lot of people, when they are giving azan, they say hayya alal salah, hayya alal falah. It's not falah, it's falah, falah. Okay, so ha with a sukoon has to, yeah, that has to be practiced a little bit, because otherwise hayya alal salah, hayya alal falah. It is falah. Okay, so continuing, another word is yansuru becomes yansur. Yansuruna will become yansuru. Tansuru will become tansur. Angsuru will become angsur. Tangsuru will become tangsur. Nansuru will become nansur. Tansur will become tansur, right? The same thing, same concept. The dhamma becomes sukoon. We'll take a sentence. If you help, I will help.
In tansuru ansuru. Ansur.
In tansur
So
ansur.
there's a sukoon in the end. So that's what we are now having the habit of reading it with the dhamma. So we have to condition ourselves also.
In tansur ansur.
Yes. So in tansur ansur. So what happens is, for Arabs it is very easy because they know this, and when we will hear it, we will not understand why this is being said like that. We will feel that it is tansuru only, but we have to be very that is how, if you are learning Arabic, you become intelligent and smart, and you will want to listen to everything on how it is being said. And when you realize that it is tansur, then you know that this is a conditional sentence, right? So in tansur ansur. Now the second part, if you all help, we all will help.
In tansuru nansur.
In tansuru nansuru.
Nansur, not mansuru, nansur. Okay. The first is tansuru because of the plural, and second nansur is because of it's a sukoon in the end. Nansur, not nansuru. Okay. So the other example is yadribu, yadrib, yadribuna becomes yadribu, tadribu, tadrib, adribu, adrib, tadribuna, tadribu, nadribu, and nadrib. Tadribu and tadrib. So let's take, if you hit, I will hit. In tadrib, adrib.
Adrib.
Right. If you all hit, we all will hit.
In tadrib.
Nazrib.
Nazrib.
MashaAllah. So now we can change the words also. You can make it different words also. So it can be in tadrib, if you hit, ansur, I will help, right? So it doesn't make sense, but you can take any other verb to complete that conditional sentence. It need not be the same verb, right? So it can be, if you open, I will help. So and somebody can take that, if you open, I will help.
In taftah
Ansur.
ansur.
Very good, mashallah, right? So now if you all open, we all will help.
In taftahu nansur.
Mashallah, very good, right? So we just have to keep our brains on and try to change. So any other, there are so many verbs that we have learned. You can try making conditional sentences of all these, or based on this pattern of in taf'al af'alu, or in taf'alu af'al, right? So now let us take 3-letter weak verbs and the repeated letters and try to fit it in this pattern. So we already seen that qala yaqulu with the chopping becomes yaqul, and yaquluna is simple yaqulu. Taqulu, again the vav is dropped and becomes taqul. Aqulu becomes aqul. Taquluna becomes taqulu, and naqulu becomes naqul, and taqulu becomes taqul. So we are taking the same word so that we know each, but we can, as I said, we can change the verbs and the conditions also. So in taqul, aqul is if you say, I will say, right? So I'll repeat it in English and then you all can say it in Arabic. If you say, I will say.
In taqul.
In taqul aqul.
MashaAllah. If you all say, we will say.
In taqulu
Taqulu naqul.
MashaAllah. So in this you can also say that, take any other verb and say that if you do, or if you hit, I will say, which means that I will say somebody else. If you are doing something like this, I will say. So if you hit, I will say. What it will be?
إن تقول أضرب.
No, if you hit daraba.
إن
إن
تضرب
تضرب.
إن تضرب أقل.
أقل.
Akul. Very good. Right? So this way you can change the verbs. You can change it from singular to plural and plural to singular. It can also be that you are talking to somebody who is a singular, and you all are going to be doing something else. So if somebody says something, you can say that then we will hit. So suppose if somebody is saying something wrong, one person is saying something wrong, right? So if you say we all will hit. So if you say something wrong, we will hit. So make that if you say we will hit, what it will be?
إن تقول نضرب.
Mashallah, mashallah, right? So that way we can
تقول نضرب.
correct, right? So this way you can change the verbs on the condition. So if somebody is doing something, then you are going to take some action on it. So that's a conditional sentence, and it's a very simple thing, but we have to remember that both the verbs are going to be affected with the effect of in, and that is why we have two choppers here. Remember these two choppers, that they're going to affect both the verbs, the condition and the effect of that condition also. It is going to work on both, right? So we'll take another weak verb, ya'idu. Ya'idu becomes ya'id. Here there is no waw or no ya, but just that dhamma is becoming sukun. So there's no major change here. Ya'idu, wa'ada ya'idu, and ya'id. Ya'iduna, ya'idu, ta'idu, ta'id, a'idu, a'id, ta'iduna, ta'idu, na'idu, na'id, ta'idu, and ta'id. So there is like qala, yaqulu, the waw was dropped. Here there is no other weak word added. So the sukun is coming as it is, right? So if you promise, wa'ada ya'idu is to promise, other meaning of wa'ada ya'idu is to warn, right? So here we are taking it as the sense of promise. The same word with the same meaning, or same everything has two meanings. One is a promise and one is a warning, right? So if you promise, I will promise.
إن تعيد أعيد.
Mashallah. If you all promise, we will promise.
إن
تعيد
تعيد
نعيد.
نعيد.
Right. So now I'll give you, if you all promise, we all will help.
إن تعيدوا ننصر.
Nansur, mashallah, very good, right? So this way you can change the verbs, whatever you want. Now you know the patterns of the verbs. Now you know so many things. So with that, whatever changes you want to make, you can make these conditional sentences with in. So yad'u, the yad'u becomes yad'u with a single dhamma. The waw is dropped, right? So this is a singular. Mind it, there is no alif. I just highlight it so that point becomes clear. Okay, so now this particular word, yad'u, right? This waw is a part of the present tense only. Okay, there is no alif here. If there was an alif, it indicates plural, right? Mark it that there is no alif here. Okay, so this is wa'ada ya'idu, wa'ada ya'idu. So ya'idu becomes yad'u. Yad'u becomes yad'u without the waw. The waw is dropped. This waw is also chopped. Like yaqulu became yaqul, yad'u becomes yad'u. Right? So this will be two harkat. Yad'u. This is yad'u. Okay. Yad'una, yad'u, tad'u, tad'u. So your pronunciation and harkat has to be two counts here and a single count here. This is tad'u. This is tad'u. Ad'u, ad'u. Tad'una, tad'u. Nad'u, nad'u. Right? So this is why your tajweed is important, and increasing the counts to two counts. This is a mad here, right? There is no mad here. There is just a single pesh or a dhamma. Okay, so that is what you have to keep in mind in this particular type. Yad'u becomes yad'u with a single, with a jhatka, right? Is this point clear? That's why your kirat has to be proper. You have to stretch it exactly two counts here and only one count here. Only that will make it different when you are reciting it. So somebody who's listening to you should be able to understand that this is with a chop or without a chop, right? Because they'll sound almost similar. if you're not prolonging this to 2 harkat, if you're not pronouncing yad'u, then this and this will become same. That's why it is important. Okay. So coming for the examples of for that, if you call upon, I will call upon. In tad'u, ad'u. Okay, so if you call upon, I will call upon. You all can repeat this.
إن تدعو أدعو.
إن تدعو أدعو.
If you all call upon, we will call upon.
إن
تدعو
تدعو
ندعو.
ندعو ندعو.
Mashallah, right? So this prolonging of this is important here. Other thing is that if you see there is a alif which is retained here, indicating the plural. Okay, and the fact that you are going to be putting it 2 counts after a in, it indicates that this is plural. Okay, with this alif. Tad'u. See, this is in tad'u. This is in tad'u. Right? Are you making out this difference? So coming back here, this is yad'u can become tad'u also. See tad'u, and see this tad'una. See this and this again will sound exactly similar. I'll just highlight that again. Shh. So here, if you see, sorry, I think we have to go back 1 slide. Now. Okay, so what I wanted to highlight is that this differences, you have to note that this tad'u and this tad'u will sound exactly same. But while writing, you will write an alif, indicating that this is a plural. Okay. So we have to be having our options clear in our mind that if this is sounding like this, then what it exactly is. That will depend upon the situation of the sentence, the condition of the sentence, that what is to be used. But sound wise, this will sound the same. Tad'u and this tad'u, but this is with an alif, indicating that it is plural. Okay. Right. So now we'll take another verb. This is a doubled verb. Dalla yadillu. Yadillu becomes yadil. Okay, with a sukun. Yadil. And yadilluna becomes yadillu. Tadillu becomes tadil. Adillu becomes adil. Tadillu becomes tadillu. Nadillu becomes nadil. Tadillu becomes tadil. Right? Again, here this is a sukun. So, and it has to have a stress because of the shadda. The dhamma is dropped. Yadil. Yadillu, yadil. Okay? Yadil. So the double words, again, you see how they are different from the routine words. So if you go astray, he will go astray. Right? We don't want to go astray. That's why we're using the word he. Okay? In tadillu, yadil. So if you go astray, he will go astray. You all can repeat.
إن تضلوا
إن
يضل.
تدل يدل.
Right, so that the lam should have a stress because it's called a shadda. Come again. In tadil, yadil.
إن تدل يدل.
يدل.
Correct. So this is a shadda.
In this yadil, there is shadda or sukun.
There is shadda with a sukun.
Both.
There is shadda with a sukun. There is shadda also. Yadillu is the dhamma is dropped, and that's why it is dil. You have to do. You have
Yadil.
to. In tadil yadil. So there will be no dhamma. It will be like a sukun only.
The sukun is not used and put.
Sukun is not written, but it is a sukun. Right. So if you all go astray,
Dil.
we will go astray.
إن تدل يدل.
Okay, right. So we don't want to go astray. That's why we are not using a nadil. Okay. If we are to say we, right. So inshallah, we shouldn't go astray. We should stay on the sirat al-mustaqim. Right. So that was all about in and the conditional sentences and the different verbs and the weak words and the weak verbs that we took along with it. Now we are going to take the word ma, which will be followed by the verb. And again, this is a conditional sentence. Whatever you are going to do, the effect of that will be shown. So Let us see some conditional sentences in the Quran. Ma is whatever. Wama taf'alu. Taf'aluna has become taf'alu. Min khairin, of good. Ya'lamullah. So ya'lamu becomes ya'lam. Right? Can you see the difference? Because this is a conditional sentence. So it is showing the effect. I'll highlight it so that it becomes a little clear. So as we said, ma will act as two choppers. One is the noon here is dropped. One noon here is dropped. And the second is ya'lamu becomes ya'lam. This is sukoon here. Right? That is why it is a conditional sentence. So this ma is affecting two places. One is here, the noon is dropped, and second is the sukoon that is coming here. These two effects are happening because of the ma, and that's why this ma is a condition. So wama taf'alu, and whatever you do min khairin, from good, ya'lam hulwa, Allah knows it, right? So sometimes in sentences, if you are not knowing what is happening, try to go back and see if there's a in, if there's a ma, or we'll see one more word. Then you'll come to know why there is a sukoon here, right? Sometimes you are like, yu'allimu huna cheta. Why is this yu'allam, right? Sorry, ya'lam. Ya'lamu, alima ya'lamu. So ya'lamu has become ya'lam. Ya'lamullah. It's not ya'lamuhullah. Ya'lamullah. Okay? This part is clear of whatever. Ma is whatever. So whatever you do of good, Allah knows it. If you are doing good, then Allah knows it. Right? So that's the conditional sentence. Is this part clear? In also was working on two. That's why this is double chopper. Ma is also a double chopper. So now whenever you are reciting,
possibility of some other words coming in between, and then afterwards whatever
yes,
mudaira
that will be a sentence. Now here min khairin, of good. So you'll not always get a small, a very short sentence. That was just for example. Wama taf'alu.
What need not be in sequence or
yes, correct. So you will get, you might sometimes get a longer part of the sentence in between. Here you just said min khairin. Sometimes this could be little longer, right? But then you see the effect of this ma on the answer of that condition. Okay. Then your translation becomes more powerful and easily understandable also. Now we'll take one more example with man. Right? Man means who or whoever. My, we have another 10 minutes to go. Right. So my ya'mal, whoever does amal, ya'mal. Now after that is su'an. Wa man ya'mal su'an, whoever is doing evil deeds. Yujza bihi. Yujza bihi. So whoever does a wrong will be recompensated for it. Yujza bihi. Right? So now here, there was a ya here after this, and this is a passive word, so that's why it is becoming difficult. But actually, this is a sukoon here. But being a weak word, jaza yajzi and yujza. Yujza had an extra ya, but that has become yujza. The ya yujza has become yujza bihi. Okay. But this is a weak word, that's why this is different. But you'll have simple words also coming, which will have effect of the condition. Now make a note that iza is also conditional. Iza ja'a, when, but that does not cause any change in the present or past tense, right? So iza ja'a nasrullahi wal fath. This also ha is with a sukoon if you are stopping. Wal fath, fath, right? So this is a conditional sentence, but it is not getting any change in the verb. And anyways, this is past tense. What we are seeing is a present tense verb change, right? Keep that also in mind. The changes that are happening in conditional sentences are in the present tense, mudare, not madi. Okay? Because condition will put only for future. No, past tense has already occurred. Conditional sentences are futuristic sentences. So they will have the present or future verb. Then the other example is lamma, which is also when. Lamma wa anna lamma sami'na al-huda amanna bihi. So whenever they listen to the hidayat, they said amanna bihi, we believe in it. Right? So that is here you have to make a note that the lamma is not going to make any difference, and iza is also not going to make any difference. Okay. So this was a different concept today. It was quite interesting. I don't know how it was for you all, but it was quite interesting for me to take this. Right, let's stop the share. Any doubts in this conditional sentences? You can ask. We have 10 minutes to go.
In Surah Para 12, when it started is Wama min dabbatin fil ardh. So what ma we have learned now, but
Wama min
Wama min dabbatin fil
Ah.
ardh illa ala Allahi rizquha.
Right. So that is ma and illa. There is a combination of ma with illa. So there is no except. So the ma and illa combination also comes quite frequently, and in and illa also comes frequently. That is a different thing. There it is, if that is there, everything except that will happen. So wama min dabbatin vida, and there is no dabba in the earth illa except that the risk is with it. So that's a combination of ma and illa. We have not taken that today. Inshallah, we can take it some other time, but just to for a short this thing, that's a combination of ma and illa. Sometimes you get a combination of in and illa also with a similar meaning. So there the in will become no and except. In huwa illa, it is not but, right? In huwa illa dhikrul lil alamin, it is not but a zikr for the alamin. So in there becomes no. When in is followed by illa, the translation of that illa in becomes no. And here the translation of this in becomes if. Is that part clear?
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So ma min illa is not all the dabba except the risk is with Allah. Which means everybody's risk is with Allah. Right? Right. So any other queries? So let these queries come up because that helps others also to understand if this confusion is there. And since it is alien language, so alien meaning in the sense that we are not using it so often, not that alien, it is a worldly language only. And it is in fact most commonly used after English also, because so many countries have Arabic as their basic language. Okay, so any other questions for this conditional sentences? So we have learned three things today. We learned in, and that it is affecting the two verbs. We learned ma, and we learned man. So whoever does something, and then the effect of that, and then whatever is done, ma, the ma of whatever will have the conditional sentence. And all these things are only in the present tense, not affecting the past tense. Okay. We also saw that iza and lamma does not affect the verbs in the past or the present, and iza can be used. Is and is for past, and iza is for future, but iza also does not change anything in the verbs.
Iza, you need to say Iza and what you say other Lamma.
Iza and lamma are the two words which do not both mean when. Lamma, ja.
When if they come on this Mudaira,
In Mudare also it will not affect any changes in present tense.
they are not Hurufe Jazima, you want to say.
Yes, that's right. They are not Huruf Jazima. That's right. Absolutely.
Okay. So this affects only Muzaira.
That's right. This will affect only the present tense, Mudare verbs only. That's why the conjugation that we saw was for the present tense. Yaf'alu, yaf'aluna, taf'alu, taf'aluna, afalu, nafalu, and the effect that it was having on yaf'alu becomes yaf'al, taf'alu becomes taf'al, taf'aluna becomes taf'alu, naf'alu becomes naf'al. Again, the important thing was in the weak verbs, the i'rab and how much you have to pull. That's why the tajweed is very important, that you have to recite it that way only. We have to pull for two harakat only, or one, otherwise the meanings can sometimes change. That is why we have to be so careful in the reading, and that's why we shouldn't be rushing over the Quran. We should be reading it slowly.
What is the difference between this lam? Then the effect of lam and they are similar, no? Lam and
Lam depends upon what type of lam it is. It has different effects. So like we saw in the first la tajidanna, that lam was of stress, and that's why it gave a dhamma. Sometimes you have li, which will give a kasra. So the lam is a different topic altogether.
yeah, lam.
Huh?
We earlier, just before this, we saw the three what Mudaira plus lam.
So lam was also
the jazam to
yes.
the Muzaira, isn't it?
Yes. So we are still on the jazam only.
It is same, no? Chapter is same, no?
Yes, yes, same chapter is going on. So here in this particular course, it is being called as choppers because it chops off the dhamma and makes it a sukun. Because if the dhamma is written like a pesh, and if you cut it, then it what remains is the jazm. That's why these are called choppers, and the noon is also chopped off or it is removed. We have another chapter inshallah coming where they will call it hammers, where the thing will become a fatha or a zabar. Right, so that dhamma is hammered and it will become a fatha. That's why it's called hammers and choppers. It is for easy remembrance of jazm and mansub. So that the present tense, if it gets a fatha, then it will be called a hammer. This is their terminology so that people understand it and in an easy way. Right. So, any other questions?
One sentence. Man zahaka zuhika.
Man.
Man zahaka zuhika. So that is also is a conditional sentence.
Man.
Man zahaka zuhika.
Man zahaka zuhika, but there it is not the present tense. Zahaka is the past tense used. So whoever is laughing will be laughing.
Man yadhak ho jayega. Man yadhak.
Man yadhak. So there it is what you're saying is the past tense that it is used with. But yes, that is also condition. If you are laughing on, if you laughed on somebody, you will be laughed at.
Only if it is entering the mudaira.
Yes. So what we are saying is the effect is only on the past, in the present tense and future tense. Yaf alu and all the other gardan of that. The present tense gardan will change. The past tense will not change. Right, so we are just less than a minute to go, and I think we would.
Are there any more list of these conditional words?
There are more words which give rise to these differences. Inshallah, as we go ahead, we'll take them. We don't want to burden one class, one concept, and if you're taken that, then inshallah it is easy. Otherwise, it becomes too heavy. Then people start forgetting, and they feel it is too difficult also. So as you see, we do very little part. But alhamdulillah, I feel that everybody is at least following whatever is going on. So that is a good part. So we don't want to overload things, and that's the best part of this course. That step by step and one class, one thing is taken, and you have 1 week to digest it. And you had break also for such a long time. And I think we are less than a minute, so the thing might just close off anytime. So we'll just stop.